guys ever wondered what it would take to kill anybody's momentum, no matter what they're doing? No matter what they're doing. Take Monday Night Raw, for example. If you are the greatest talent on the planet and you have all the potential in the world, the backing of so many in management and so many fans all across the globe, then you go to Monday Night Raw. You have ultimately killed everything about this individual, and they have absolutely no spirit. They have no love for professional wrestling again. How do you kill a pro wrestler? Take them from NXT or the Indies and put them right in front of Vince McMahon. How do you kill a YouTube channel? Well, if you're Brooke Hout, who accidentally uploads a video of themselves spitting and hitting a poor defenseless animal, no matter what it is, you, ladies and gentlemen, are a piece of garbage. You are a piece of garbage. She accidentally uploaded a video of herself. I don't know what she was doing. I seen it. I was disgusted by it. I didn't even want to look at her ever again. Of her hitting and spitting and just throwing the dog down forcefully. It was just a disgusting act by anybody, man. That's how you kill a YouTube channel. You think that woman's career on YouTube is going anywhere after that? Absolutely dead. So much so that WWE superstars across the roster came out and blasted this woman on social media, man. Absolutely disgusting. I hope A, she has her dog taken away from her. B, she never shows her face on video ever again. C, go gets mental help. And D, is never allowed to have another living creature in her possession. Simple as that. People like that are the truest forms of garbage. If you harm an animal in any way, shape, or form, you should be fucking sentenced to death. Seriously. I fucking hate anybody that has any type of abuse towards animals, man. I have animals. I'm sure the majority of you watching have animals. And they need to be treated with love, respect, kindness. They're the most innocent fucking things that have graced us and our lives. Don't. Accidentally or not. Whatever. You don't do that. So I'm glad that she's getting every fucking inch of backlash. Every little bit of backlash that's coming to her. I hope it's fucking magnified by the end of all this, man. That's how much she deserves to just rot in hell for what she did. Anyway. Talking about killing a wrestler's momentum or killing a YouTube channel. Roman Reigns seems to be the next in line who wants to be killed by the YWC due to ridiculous comments made in an interview. And that's exactly what we're going to start off the script with, man. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here today. Summerslam weekend. Roman Reigns made some comments lately, and I have my good buddy Chris Van Vliet, who just released an interview with Jimmy Jacobs. Remember him? He was the one who was fired from WWE because he took a picture with the Elite and then posted it on his Instagram. They let him go from the company like that. So we're going to compare Roman Reigns and his political stance on WWE coming to the aid and being the white knight of WWE, as if Seth Rollins didn't make himself look like a retard. We're going to compare his comments, and then we're going to compare Jimmy Jacobs' comments and see who's right and who's wrong. And then we're going to go back and reference Jon Moxley, and then we're going to see who's winning this, I would say, war on what is right and what is wrong with the WWE. Whether you're a man of reality and a man of fact, or you're a man of delusion. So we'll go over that right here on the podcast, man. Thank you guys so very much for joining me. Either way you look at it, this is episode 286, SummerSlam weekend. There's so much going on right now. I am recording this on Thursday. I am lucky to still have a voice, because Friday, if you guys see me on Saturday night during TakeOver, I'm not going to have much of a voice, man. Because you guys are seeing this on Saturday, I'm recording it on Thursday, and Friday is the House of Glory High Intensity show with the Young Bucks and the Private Party going on. In the main event, it's going to be classic. I am just thinking ahead. I could tell you right now, you're watching it Saturday. Folks, it was a classic. It didn't even happen yet. It's Saturday, And I could tell you it's a classic already. And I'm not even there in that moment yet. The magic of YouTube. The magic of YouTube. Anyway, I'm getting ready on this Thursday to get everything done that I need to for the weekend. And House of Glory has their show. I'm getting ready for that. Getting ready for TakeOver. We did a TakeOver preview and predictions as well. We did a SummerSlam preview and predictions, which you guys seen on Friday afternoon. We premiered that on YouTube. It was live yet not live, so we used the YouTube premiere option, and we just gave it that feel of being live. I wanted to test it out, and it really wasn't an official off the script. I kind of separated the preview and predictions from the actual podcast, so I wanted to do that for you guys. Plus, we got today's podcast, plus we got TakeOver, then we got SummerSlam. I'm not doing a goddamn thing on Sunday because I know I am in for a 7-hour show, and I do not want to be a part of whatever WWE has us doing for 7 hours. I don't want to be a part of anything for 7 hours, let alone Vince McMahon's WWE. So there's a lot going on. Everything you guys need to keep up with, man. I'm going to link all over so that you don't miss it. Okay, I want your eyes on everything that I'm doing. So you're going to see it in the comment section. I'm going to mention it to you here. Go check everything out that you need, man. Everything you need is live on the channel. Easy access. Keep up to date and be informed on everything happening in the WWE this weekend for SummerSlam weekend. I can't wait for TakeOver tonight. Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Our preview and predictions went over that and how I think there is very eerie similarities, whether it has to do with Johnny and Adam Cole, or whether it has to do with Johnny leaving NXT, or whether when Ciampa comes back, because I think it has to do with him as well. Ciampa comes back as a babyface and Johnny goes heel. I took the Unsainted Slipknot single, which was the theme song for NXT TakeOver, and I compared it to what is going on with all four of these entities. JD, who's the fourth? Well, Goldie. Goldie is an entity in this entire story, folks. Ciampa, Gargano, Cole, and Goldie. So we compared that. We compared the lyrics to what's going on. Multitude of different avenues that WWE could go in. Either way, it's going to be unpredictable, and it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see what they produce tonight in another classic on NXT TakeOver. I think after tonight, though, I'm done with Cole and Gargano. I think this is it. And I see some people in the community, again, rinse and repeat. He's so critical of the main roster, and they do things over and over again, but he's not so critical of NXT because NXT is actually good television. Wow. When you give me good television, I am one who will not complain all that often. How can you complain about Johnny and Adam? Give me a break. Seriously. So I can't wait for that tonight. Again, everything you need, linked down below in the comments. I'm going to pin it, and you guys can go check the channel. Everything you need is right there, man. Follow me on social media, at JD from NY206. All right? Very important you do this, because I'm going to be live tweeting during TakeOver and SummerSlam. You don't want to miss my live thoughts while the action's going on, at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see some pictures from the House of Glory show. Always awesome to follow me on there. Hit that subscribe button, man. I want to get over 112,000. I've been stuck at 111 because YouTube sucks. So I want to get to 112. Hit that subscribe button. Hopefully this weekend for SummerSlam, we can do it. While you do that, turn on the bell and make sure you guys are notified of all my uploads from here on out, man. Best way to support the show is that. Also, if you guys want to show some extra appreciation, patreon.com/JD from NY206. Great way to support the show. You guys get extra content. You guys get the audio format of everything that I do that's not available on anywhere. Not Spotify, not iTunes, not Podbean, not Google Play. You guys on Patreon get all the audio formats of literally everything, man. So that's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, any extras, the pay-per-view reviews, and, not the reviews, but the pay-per-view previews. I'll even put the reviews up there if you guys want. I don't give a shit. But you guys get all the audio formats of literally everything. Early access. Great shit over there, man. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. I wish I could do more, but I'm lucky I have so many people that just love what I do and want to support just to support. I wish I could do more as far as, different videos and whatnot, but my God, man. My time is taking up so much, and going into October, it's even going to be worse. I have no idea what my schedule is going to be for Off the Script at all. No idea what I'm doing for Off the Script. I might have to. My brother actually just got off the phone with me about 20 minutes ago. He's like, maybe you're going to have to do one show. Just consolidate it into one show. And if not, just do Saturday and Sunday. I think that's what I'm going with. That's the front runner right now. Saturday and Sunday when AEW hits. Because AEW in the middle of the week with NXT and then Raw and SmackDown on Friday. It's going to be crazy, man. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but We'll figure it out. We'll get there, man. Harrys.com/script. You guys know the deal. Harry's, not only are they good friends, but they want to give you the best shave of your life, man. Harrys.com/script is where you're going to go to get your $13 value trial set. Join the 10 million plus that have tried Harry's and claim your offer today by using our unique link. Harry's was founded by two regular guys, man. Two regular guys like me and you. Me and you. They were tired of getting ripped off and paying for overpriced gimmicks, vibrating heads, flex balls, handles that look like cheesy props in a sci-fi movie. These are just some of the tactics that the leading brands have used to overcharge us for years. They make quality, durable blades at a fair price. Guys, it's only $2 per blade. $2 per blade. That's the same price as a 12-ounce bottle of Pepsi. But you shouldn't be drinking Pepsi because it's bad for you. You shouldn't be drinking any of those sugary beverages. It's bad for you. Harry's is actually very good for you because you're going to look damn good at the end of that shave. I guarantee you, man. To keep prices that low, they cut out the middleman. Harry's bought a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making quality blades for 99 years, man. These are some of the best razor blades in the world for 99 years. Now they can provide great quality at factory direct prices with a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, let them know and they will give you a full refund. JD, this sounds awesome. What am I going to get? Well, you're going to get a razor handle with an easy grip. Choice of colors up to you. The orange, the navy blue, or the evergreen. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade for a close, comfortable shave. Rich lathering shave gel that will leave you smelling great. And a travel blade cover that will keep your razor dry and easy on the go. So if you're a man of business, a man or woman of business, it is definitely for you, man. It's going to keep your razor nice and crisp. Listeners on my show can redeem their trial set by going to harrys.com/script. Again, folks, harrys.com/script. The best shave of your life. Tell them that JD sent you to help support Off the Script. Now, we all know that Summerslam is taking place in Toronto, Canada. Taking place in Toronto. WWE already has SummerSlam for 2020 lined up with a destination in mind. It's confirmed already, folks. So if you guys want to get the head start on SummerSlam next year, which I don't know why you want to, because SummerSlam this year isn't even all that. SummerSlam the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that wasn't all that either. So why would anybody want to make SummerSlam a vacation destination when the show sucks? It's not SummerSlam, folks. The spirit of SummerSlam has died. SummerSlam is not SummerSlam anymore. In fact, tonight is my SummerSlam. Just like I'm sure it is all of yours. But SummerSlam, folks, Toronto in 2019, and then Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going to get in my car, and then I'm going to go to Boston, and I'm going to buy a beer. Terrible Boston accent. People make fun of my fucking accent, you know? I'm going to get in the car, and then I'm going to go to the bar, and then I'm going to go to Summerslam. Now I sound like Vince Russo. Whatever. Awful fucking Boston accent, I know. But Boston's going to host SummerSlam in 2020. WWE has plans for their big events, and like this, they have them well in advance, which is good. The Boston Globe revealed on Thursday that Boston will host the 2020 SummerSlam event. This is a huge market and could bring a big crowd with fans to the city. It also means the first time at SummerSlam will be in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm thinking already what they're going to do for Sasha Banks. They'll probably have her fucking lose. Being that WWE doesn't like to give anyone the hometown rub. They laugh at that. You're going into your hometown. All right, we'll book you to lose. It's exactly what they do. Now, this will be a multi-day event. Great. Awesome. I can't wait to get 4 days of WWE programming. Fucking heal me now. 21st to the 24th, including SmackDown Live on Friday, NXT TakeOver on Saturday, SummerSlam on Sunday, and then Monday Night Raw on Monday. It's a lot of days, folks. It's a lot of days. Where am I going to fit in off the script over there? I'm already thinking ahead. Where am I going to fit in off the script over there? You know, all this shit. So the events will take place at the Boston's TD Garden. Boston is also the city that Sasha Banks is billed from, even though she is a Cali girl in reality. But you never know what will happen in pro wrestling. And I did hear I did hear that WWE did try for Fenway Park, but the scheduling for Fenway Park was just ridiculous, and it definitely is stepping on the toes of the actual Boston Red Sox team schedule. So they had to take that into consideration. They had to take into consideration that it was outdoors and weather might be a factor. All that stuff came into play, so they ended up with the TD Garden. And believe it or not, AEW announced Washington, D.C., Boston, and Philadelphia for their first 3 sets of live TV tapings for AEW on TNT. So Boston's going to be a hotbed. Philly's probably going to be a hotbed. Philly's always a hotbed, but we got Boston getting SummerSlam next year. You might see me. Not that far away. I might do a meet and greet. Who knows? Maybe I'll get together with Krona and we'll do a live show. I'm not getting your hopes up. Don't fucking go over there and tell them, oh, JD wants to do a live show with you on SummerSlam weekend in 2020. We'll see. Don't get your hopes up, man. But I wish him the best. Anyway, that's out of the way. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this shit, man. Roman Reigns. You all know my love for Roman Reigns. It's non-existent. Roman Reigns, the latest to fire back at Jon Moxley and his words on WWE Creative. Now, we all know what Jon Moxley said. I did a fucking podcast review on it. Probably the biggest off the script I did all year. Outside of Double or Nothing, coincidentally, which is an AEW event. No WWE videos are pulling in those amount of views, so good on me for AEW, huh? Anyway, Jon Moxley had a lot to say about WWE's Creative, and I believed every word out of Jonathan Good's mouth. There's no reason for us not to believe. Roman Reigns, though, still considers Mox a friend, but he obviously doesn't agree with him on his stance in AEW and now talking shit about his home in WWE while speaking to ESPN. So Rollins made a fool of himself on Sports Illustrated, so Roman says, let me go to the other sports publication and make myself look like a fucking idiot. While speaking to ESPN, the big dog was asked about Moxley's viewpoint on how WWE Creative works. Obviously, there are things that could be fixed about things. This company needs to be fucking blown up, and there needs to be a new, fresh fucking city built and fucking foundation, walls painted, everything. The whole fucking layout needs to be done. How Titan Tower is going to be blown up, that's what needs to happen on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. Everything needs to change. Literally everything about Creative, from the top all the way to the bottom, needs to change. But Roman Reigns had to step in and defend the company that he works for because he's an independent contractor. You know, he's an independent contractor, so he feels the need to white knight WWE. How dare you? How dare you talk about my home in WWE, my family, right? So he says this, and I quote, I'll tell you straight up, I don't agree with Dean and what he said about the creative process. I love the guy. I love him to death. I find it very funny how he doesn't call him by his new name in AEW. He calls him, I'll disagree with what Dean had to say. Really? His name is Moxley now, Roman. Give me a break. I love the guy. I love him to death. He's my brother. And wrestling ain't gonna stop that. On a personal level, me and that dude can hang out, have a beer or two, and just talk. And even when we don't talk, that's our relationship. When it comes down to it, creative-wise, that's on you. Really now. Because I don't know if maybe I had wax in my ears, but I know for a fact that Jonathan Good went on Chris Jericho's podcast, and he explained how he went to Vince McMahon and how Vince McMahon didn't want Jon Moxley to be Jon Moxley, how Vince McMahon wanted to be sitting there telling Jon Moxley that he needed to do comedy. How pooper scooper and shit jokes and needles in the ass live on Monday Night Raw from a fucking clown who played the role of a doctor. How Jon Moxley was forced to go out there wearing fucking Bane's outfit from The Dark Knight. Really? 8 years ago, the movie was relevant. Yet you have him go out there dressed as fucking Bane? Is he going out there on a wrestling show or to blow up a fucking football stadium? Fucking idiot. He went into Vince's office and told him, this is not me. And then Vince is like, this is good shit. This is who they think you are. This is who I think you are. They're going to love it. You mean to tell me that you didn't listen to the same podcast that we all listened to? What the fuck did you listen to? What did Roman listen to? He clearly didn't listen to Talk Is Jericho. Moxley said he went to talk to Vince every single time, and how he talked to a creative writer who knew the shit that he was being handed was garbage, and then Vince said direct orders that Moxley or Ambrose, whatever the fuck you want to call him, had to follow the script verbatim. He didn't even want to talk to Jon Moxley on most situations because he knew he was going to complain about it. Is this the same guy we're talking about? Maybe there's another Dean that you're talking about. Dean Douglas? You know? Dean Smith? Who? I don't even... I know one Dean. He works for House of Glory. Is it that Dean? Maybe. Let me find out he knows fucking Roman Reigns. I got some fucking questions for my buddy Dean. Anyway. He says this and continues. When it comes down to it creative-wise, that's on you. Communication is communication. Well, your boss sucks at communication, according to what I heard from Moxley. When you go in there and talk to the boss, you gotta let him know. Okay. Did Dean Ambrose not tell us that he went into the office to let him know? Is Roman this much of a blithering idiot? He even made comments about the things I had to say, but that was in a different place. I was brand new. We've worked our asses off for Vince McMahon in this company, and he respects that. And he wants to know our opinions. Yeah, sure he does. That's why he goes to SmackDown Live like this week and rips up the entire script, rewrites the whole show, except for the segment that his son is in. Yes, folks, it was reported. Not only that, he ripped the script up last week, and then the week before that, he showed up to the venue with 4 hours to go and rewrote the whole fucking show because he didn't like what was presented to him. This is the man that Roman is defending. The brand that you're on, apparently. I don't even know what fucking brand you're on. Which brand are you on now? So, we work our asses off of Vince McMahon. He respects that. He wants to know our opinions. Yeah, sure. You have to speak up for yourself. This is what Jon Moxley said in the Y2J podcast. He did speak up for himself. What happened? He got turned down. I'm in a position now where he listens to everything I have to say and what I'm feeling. Of course he does. You're Joseph Anoa'i of the Anoa'i family. You got a legacy and a family fucking history behind you. Of course he's gonna fucking listen to you. Who is Jonathan Good to fucking Vince McMahon? Are you listening to yourself? Another idiot who is where he is because of where he came from. Yes, they're gonna listen to Jonathan fucking Good, of all people. Of course he's gonna listen to you. You're his prized possession. Early on, when you don't have any equity, when you have to put in that time, you shouldn't do... well, actually, let me phrase that. He says, when you haven't put in the time, you should do what the boss says. But you once, get to that point, when you earn that equity, once you got the keys to the car, which Ambrose was clearly in that position because all three of us were. I'm glad he fucking realized that. You have to speak up for yourself and do what is right for you. Regardless, I love the dude, man. We came from the bottom and got to where we are now, and he's a huge part of that. No type of business rivalry or any of that crap will ever affect the personal relationship I have with either Seth or Dean. We're all going to do our thing. We're having fun. I'm enjoying where I'm at. I enjoy being with the WWE. I'll never be anywhere else. Of course not. Of course not. You're a lifer, man. You're a lifer. So that's what he says about that. Roman Reigns, we all know, is the locker room big dog. He's the locker room leader in WWE. Rollins is pretending to be the face of the company, yet his words don't really signify that. So we all know why they said and did what they did, okay? Jonathan Good wanted to leave. That's on him. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Jonathan Good's a liar. I believed every fucking word out of his mouth on the Y2J podcast because I've been saying it for years. It's not... If you watch with open eyes every single week like I do, you will have seen what he's talking about. Seriously. It's not that difficult, folks. It's not that difficult. Now, let's go back and think about what Roman Reigns said. Is it fresh in your memory? Good. Because Jimmy Jacobs says Vince McMahon has created an unhealthy work environment. Vince McMahon runs WWE, clearly, and that's not changed, and the guy's going to be fucking 106 years old in the chair writing SmackDown Live. Jimmy Jacobs worked as a writer in WWE, and he's been given the honor of coming up with Jericho's The List. The List of Jericho was a Jimmy Jacobs idea, said Jericho. He was fired because he took a picture with the Elite, where that one, I forgot where they were, San Jose, I believe it was, where the Elite stormed the venue in which Monday Night Raw was taking part in, and Jimmy Jacobs was out there. He was hanging out with them for a little bit, talking, catching up with his friends, and he took a picture, posted the picture on Instagram. The next day, he was terminated. Gone. So he spoke to Chris Van Vliet, and Jimmy Jacobs went into detail about the culture WWE breeds backstage. There are fun elements, but overall, everything is about trying to avoid Vince McMahon's wrath. This is what he says, and I quote, "It was just not a healthy work environment for me. I don't want to speak for them, but people in WWE generally, it doesn't seem like a work environment conducive to people's likes, and people don't feel good. People don't enjoy themselves. It breeds a lot of insecurity, a lot of discontentment, a lot. Yeah. A lot of cool comes from working with WWE. A lot of WWE is fun, except there's this one black little cloud that hangs over the entire place, and that's the crazy man. It just creates this environment where people aren't trying to do their best. They're not trying to come up with the best segments or have the best match or do the most creative thing or do what's best for the fans. It's just like, what's the crazy man not going to yell at me about?" End quote. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get how people sit here and openly praise this company when they know people come out like this, say this type of shit, and then they expect us to believe change is about to happen. He says, "That's it, man. There's no one to run that place but Vince. That ain't no way to run a place. Sure, he can bring in Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, and whoever he wants, he could bring in Bill Watts and whatever bookers from the past. He could move all the pieces around. But as long as this piece is on the board, the game's gonna get played the same, man." That's so sad. It's true. We all know it's true. But to have Roman Reigns come out here and speak so highly of WWE, which I understand he has to, because he works there. And we all know that he's full of shit and deluded and delusional and all this other shit. He's jaded because he's blinded by where he is. He has to speak highly about them. He works there. He's employed. Jimmy Jacobs doesn't give a shit. He's got a home in wherever he is. Impact Wrestling. Is he at AEW? I don't even know where he is anymore. Last I seen him, he was on Impact Wrestling. I don't know where he's agenting right now. But whatever. He's got more inside information than most. So he knows exactly what is going on because he was there writing for the WWE. And the line that gets me is, which, if, again, you're watching the show, you see it. You physically see it. We don't have to be backstage. We don't have to be industry insiders or analysts. Watch the show. Watch the show. This is what got me. It's not a healthy work environment. It creates an environment, Vince does. He creates an environment where people aren't trying to do their best. They're not trying to come up with the best segment or have the best match or do the most creative thing or do what's best for the fans. They are just trying to yes, and avoid Vince McMahon's wrath. Now you know why these shows are so painfully boring. Nothing will change, folks. Nothing will change. Jimmy Jacobs then says, in the same interview with Chris Van Vliet, that Vince McMahon's feet are against the fire. Again, he says this, and I quote, "Vince is starting to feel his feet against the fire. AEW, a little bit. But ratings are going down, and they're about to go on Fox, and if things keep trending the way they've been trending, then they're going to get murdered on Fox, and that's a big, big money deal." So I could see him doing some things that he wouldn't normally be doing otherwise because he has pressure on him. Oh, so you mean to tell me that the only way Vince is going to change is if he feels some sort of pressure or if he feels like the fire is getting too hot. So he will change in the spirit of competition, but he won't change for the fans, his employees, the company, or just basically doing what is right for the sake of doing what is right. This man is a cancer. I don't give a shit how highly you think of Vince McMahon. I don't give a fuck about the report of Vince McMahon, spending money out of his own pocket to fund Harley Race's medical bills. I don't give a shit about that. That's great. Any normal fucking caring human, any man that has a fucking heart is going to do that. Especially for someone who's worked for you. This is what we're talking about as far as the company version of Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon may be a good fucking man outside of WWE. I don't know. I don't know him personally. But doing that was a unbelievable gesture that I think anybody in his position would have did. But we're talking about the company version of Vince McMahon. You get one side of Vince McMahon in a story like that, and then you get this Vince McMahon. Which one is the real one? Which is the real Vince McMahon? If he cares about Harley Race enough to pay his fucking medical bills before the man passed away, what does he think about his own fucking roster now? Does he care about them? Does he genuinely give a shit about their careers? Does he give a shit about what they gave up and what they had to do to get to this point, only for you to shit on them and all the hard work that they had to go through to get here? To live their dream? Are you God? No, you're not. There's no respect for anybody in this company, from writers to producers to agents to wrestlers. Wrestlers! Not superstars. Wrestlers. Men and women. Human beings. You don't give a fuck about them. Because if you did, then things would be done differently. You don't love this business anymore. Vince doesn't love this business anymore. Vince only loves the money that comes along with it, because he's gained so much over the years that he's brokered a Fox deal worth $1 billion. He's brokered a NBC Universal deal worth $1 billion for the next 5 years. So his home now for the next 5 years for Raw and SmackDown are, right now, I don't want to say for sure secure, but right now they are. You brokered a deal with the Saudis for $500 million over the next 10 years. So all you give a shit about is the money that you're making off the WWE and off of the decisions that you made. You may be a good businessman, but your mind for the business is completely gone. Someone else needs to be in charge. And then the bullshit is that Vince McMahon claimed on an investor call that he brought Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff in so he wouldn't be in the weeds. So clearly, he lied again right to his investors' face, the stockholders' faces. Because he brought in Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman as a clickbait way to take all the heat off of him for the shows being terrible. And now it's resting on Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. And it was also done to take the spotlight away from AEW and the heat that they're generating positively in the community. WWE wanted so desperately for change, and they put it in these fucking idiots' minds that change is coming. Raw has not changed. Nothing about the show has changed. It's still the same steaming pile of garbage that it has been. Always will be, unless Vince goes. So he brought in Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff so that he wouldn't be in the weeds, but you heard reports, not once, not twice, but 3 weeks in a row, that Vince McMahon ripped up the script for SmackDown Live. That this week he completely ripped it up and wrote the show going on into the second hour. That's someone who is removing himself from the weeds? Or are the shareholders that fucking stupid that they don't have a brain to think? They don't have their own brain to think with. Awful. Again, Roman Reigns or Jimmy Jacobs? I'm going to go with Jimmy Jacobs on this one. Because he was there writing these shows, with whomever for Vince McMahon. What better opinion to get than someone that wrote creatively for WWE? They don't write for the fans. That's another thing. Vince doesn't give a shit about us, because if he did, he would be putting his best foot forward. He would do and listen to what the fans want to see and do what the fans want, as far as push this guy, push that guy, feature this guy more, take away here, you're featuring this one a little bit too much. He would put effort into the Summerslam shows and the WrestleMania shows and all your pay-per-views, instead of building these shows over 3 weeks and then expect us to fucking find some sort of investment. What happened to the Vince McMahon that loved the investment from the fans, the reaction from the fans? You like sitting in Gorilla, listening to people chant during Seth Rollins' promo on Monday Night Raw boring? Or what? Or worse yet, CM Punk, a guy who's been away from the business for 7 years, Meanwhile, you're trying to build up Seth Rollins, your main guy right now, and they're chanting CM Punk. Awful. Vince should be embarrassed. Vince should be embarrassed. Roman wasn't done, folks. Roman wasn't done. Roman Reigns berates AEW for disrespecting WWE's way of life. Not ESPN, but this was done with Sports 1. The big dog addressed AEW disrespecting WWE. He said he'll be damned if anyone is going to disrespect WWE. He also has no problem stepping up if any current superstars don't feel like they want to handle business appropriately. The thing is, Roman, everyone wants to handle business. Vince doesn't want to give them any of his business for whatever reason. You're safe. You're safe. Let's get to the Oscars and the Kairi Sanes and the Ruby Riots and the Ember Moons and the Buddy Murphys and the Alis and the Andrades and the Sami Zayns. Why? You think they want to sit where they're sitting? You think they want to be given what they're given? Or do they want to handle fucking business? So, it's very difficult for someone not to go on social media and fucking complain when they have been held down for 3 years. 3 years. Why did Luke Harper go and ask for his release? It's because they told him with the shakeup they didn't have a brand to place him on. The guy's been there busting his ass with you for some of those years. All he wants to do is like, hey boss, I'm back, I'm healthy, I'm good to go, I want to work for you. Oh, we don't have anything for you. We don't have a brand for you. I got nothing for you. I don't like this guy because he can't speak a southern fucking accent. Is that Luke Harper not handling his business correctly? Why the fuck wouldn't anybody ask for their goddamn fucking release? I know I would. If I was with an employer and they told me that, I'd walk the fuck out. Goodbye, I'm done. I can't speak a southern accent. Here's a southern accent for you. Go fuck yourself. Here's a fucking southern accent, you fucking old fuck. Ridiculous. They don't handle their business appropriately. Yeah, Buddy Murphy wants to be sitting in the fucking locker room since April 15th without one goddamn fucking match on SmackDown Live. Right? Why the fuck you pull him from 205 Live? You call up Andrade, you waste him away for 2 years. You call up Kairi Sane to do what? What the fuck is she putting together? Pirate Legos? That's what she's doing in her fucking spare time. She's playing a fucking toy pirate set. She's like, yes, this used to be me. I used to be challenging for the NXT title. Now I can't even get a match on SmackDown. He went on to explain Seth Rollins was being generous. Generous. When describing AEW as competition to WWE. Oh, really? Seth was being generous. What about Vince McMahon? Was Vince McMahon generous in saying that pretty much in any other words but using the word competition, that AEW is not competition? Oh, I don't know how TNT is going to be able to put up with all the blood and guts. So he mentioned the home base in which they will be debuting on, but they're not competition. They're not competition. Seth Rollins mentioned they were competition, then 1 week he says they're not competition, turns right back around and says they're competition. Which one is it? Are they competition or are they not competition? He mentioned them on Monday Night Raw, they must be fucking something. Yet Sami Zayn go out there and mention AEW by initial. They gotta be something. Was Sami Zayn generous? Are all the wrestlers and the people in the WWE who tweet out about Double or Nothing generous? Everybody realizes it's competition, but the fucking figureheads, because they're so far up their ass, they don't realize. Says this, and I quote, I'll be damned if anyone is going to disrespect what we do here. Who's disrespecting what you do here? We're all disrespecting what you do because what you do is garbage, and we want you to get better. But nobody wants to hear that. Oh, you guys suck right now. You're not producing quality television. Get better. Nobody wants to hear that. How could you shit on the men and women who create this product every single week? Everybody does such a hard job. They're away from their families, and they're sweating, and they lose sleep. All this other fucking god-awful excuses that these people come up with. I don't give a fuck what goes into the show. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a fucking sound engineer or a producer or an agent. I'm not the guy who's booking these matches. I'm not in the wrestling ring, but what I know is what the fucking TV product has amounted to is terrible. I have no problem with anybody doing what they do behind the scenes. Sound people and cameramen and techs and all this shit. Great. Great. You do a flawless job. You do a flawless job. Except when you have Asuka come out on SmackDown Live and get her Twitter handle wrong, and you use Io Shirai's Twitter handle, which I'm sure was done because of the excuse of, oh, you know, people are just exhausted from the road. Man, I don't know. Io Shirai and Asuka look eerily similar, man. Holy shit. One is like a fucking Skittles, a bag of Skittles. One looks like a bag of Skittles. The other one looks like she's ready for a fucking funeral. Yeah, man, they're so similar. Fucking ridiculous. Don't tell me that wasn't done on purpose. So, he says, he'll be damned if anyone's going to come in here and disrespect what we do, especially with our company. If you're within our walls, within our locker room, and not handling your business the right way, I have no problem with stepping up. Great, that's the role you've been given? Fantastic. I fear no man. And if you don't like what I'm coming from, there's a couple of options we can do. I can firmly say I believe in the history that my family has had in this business, the relationship that they've had with the McMahons and the WWE, and there it is, folks. The reason why Roman Reigns is where he is because of the history his family has had in this business and the relationship that they've had with the McMahons and the WWE. There you go. What did I say about 10 minutes ago? He is where he is because of who he is and his family. I'll be damned if anyone disrespects our way of life. I've been fed, and I've fed my family for years now from this meal plan, and I'm not going to let anyone step on that. If that makes me a locker room leader, then yeah, you can call me that. I've been fed, and I fed my family for years from this meal plan, and I'm not going to let anyone step on that. Roman, who exactly is stepping on your meal plan? Is Titus in charge of your meal plan? I would love to know what you're having for dinner on Thursday evening. I hear Thursdays is a exquisite night for Titus Catering. Who is stepping on his meal plan? Is this guy for real? Again, just like Rollins, the guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't know if this guy is without internet or if he's living in a fucking cave, if he's feeding his family on fucking plates made of stone, right? If they're using their fucking hands and feet to feed themselves. This guy must be living in the Stone Age. AEW came into the scene and is single-handedly raising the fucking paycheck of everybody that is in your locker room. So who exactly is stepping on your meal plan? When fucking Mojo Rawley is getting a fucking raise because of AEW, then you know something must be going right. If Jinder Mahal is able to sign a 5-year contract and make more money than he's ever made in his entire career because of AEW, is that someone stepping on your fucking meal plan, Roman? This guy must be complete fucking out of his mind. This guy must be a blithering idiot. There's no way this guy could be serious with these comments. The Usos, AJ Styles, The Club, Mojo Rawley, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Jinder Mahal, R-Truth. Who the fuck knows who else? Gonna sign new contracts to stay with the WWE because they're content on mediocrity. They're content on mediocrity. Either that, or they knew AEW wasn't gonna pick them up because who the fuck wants Jinder Mahal on your roster? Seriously. I'd take 6 Hornswoggles over fucking Jinder Mahal. Ridiculous. Someone stepping on his meal plan. Yeah, sure. In fact, they're taking your fucking meal plan and they're opening up a fucking 100 chain restaurant fucking franchise all over the United States with it. Goon. Says you can see in Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is being generous and calling them competition. I don't want to get too deep into this because he doesn't want to talk about AEW. I've said it before, it's an option, and that's great for professional wrestlers. It's pretty cool for the fans. Before my family was WWE only. We've been a territorial family. We've had to move, work with different promotions and territories. I always am going to be pro wrestler. But at the end of the day, WWE is my home. It's what I represent, and we're so far ahead. You can see it in other shows. It's not easy to have clean production. You have to have a lot of experience, top-notch talent. Our talent is top-notch. We've got main eventers for days, but it also is our crew. They're busting their asses all night to get the show running. There are so many people that makes this place work. When you see other people out there trying to do it, you see the flaws, and it makes you respect what we do even more. It's easy to complain, to say this and this on paper, but when it's time to go out there and actually do it, nobody will do it like WWE. Period. I agree with him on that. The production is too good. I want it to be a little rugged. I really want it to be somewhat not so polished. Like Eric Bischoff said, the WWE product comes off as fucking fake. It looks too polished. It doesn't look realistic. It doesn't have that realistic feel because everything is just so fucking scrutinized and meticulously given this type of treatment. I do agree with him on that. When it comes to a big show, when it comes to production, when it comes to the video packages and the fucking everything, the highlight, everything, no one is better than WWE. No one. I would even agree with that, even though I'm so critical of the product for the fucking quality of shows that they're putting on, which we all know is bad. I agree with him on that, but we're not complaining about that. We're complaining that the shit that we're seeing on television because of the man that you want to openly praise, he's not open to change. The reason these shows suck is because the guy that you call boss doesn't know any better. Meanwhile, everybody else who left is telling us the truth about what happens within those walls, and you got people like this who come out here and say it because they have to. Meanwhile, nobody's going to take their side on it. We're going to believe a Moxley and a Jericho and a Jimmy Jacobs for this instance. You know, Rollins and Reigns have made themselves look like fucking fools between all the interviews that both of them have conducted. AEW's competition, then they're not competition, then they're back to being competition. Seth Rollins said the same thing. You know, I don't want the AEW or Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's taking food off my table. Really? Your liquid assets are worth $3-4 million. You're one of the highest paying guys in the company. In fact, Jon Moxley going over there only increased the payroll on your end. Now you're going to be making what he's making plus some. And everybody behind you is going to be making what he's making because WWE doesn't want anybody to go over there with him. Fucking ridiculous. Does nobody use their brains? Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. No wonder they're a part of the Shield. Maybe they need to get together collectively and shield their fucking idiotic thoughts from the universe and the WWE fans and social media. That's what needs to happen. Ridiculous. Moving on here. Let's go back to SummerSlam. WWE was not happy at all about leaked SummerSlam plans. I'm not happy about SummerSlam plans, period. You're not happy about leaked plans. What was so important that got leaked out that we didn't know already? Let's find out. Brad Shepard reported that news got out about Trish Stratus and her return to the company wasn't received well at all because WWE was upset that they found out, or fans found out, that Trish Stratus was coming back to the company. In fact, Shepard reports that he got a very unhappy DM about the entire thing once he reported some details on the story on his Oh You Didn't Know podcast. He says this, and I quote, "After I reported about Trish and Charlotte training in the greater Toronto area, I actually got a DM from somebody very upset that I had released that information. They weren't happy at all. They obviously didn't want that information out. Maybe that's why they clamped down on Goldberg so much. I don't know, but you know they were also trying to be protective of Trish and the Trish news as well." Brad Shepard then goes on to provide an idea of some creative changes that they went through in the past on his podcast. Apparently WWE had some big plans, but Vince McMahon didn't like them. This is so stupid, and of course, the show is literally being rewritten. SmackDown. He's talking about SmackDown. Being rewritten as it's coming down to Showtime. So you know, it was going to be Daniel Bryan and Roman. And then I was told, as you know, it's going to be a big tag team match with Rowan and Bryan versus Joe and Roman. And that was the face turn for Samoa Joe. It was just like, it's like when I said at some point, there's no telling at this point what the fuck they're doing because they literally are writing and rewriting everything last minute. Vince McMahon didn't like the script for SmackDown Live this week, so he tore it all up around 6 p.m. He tore the whole fucking script up at 6 p.m. and they had to rewrite the whole show with less than 2 hours till it went live on the USA Network. Dave Meltzer reports, in the same vein, that Vince McMahon was doing a number on the main event as well because he couldn't come up with a solution and make up his mind on what was going to take place. It was first reported that Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan would be the main event. Thank God we didn't get it, because that would be something that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Of course, that's not what ended up happening, as Bryan and Rowan took on Xavier Woods and Big E without Kofi Kingston around at all. This is very interesting because a lot of fans are crying WCW in instances like this. It's also hard to argue with them because they don't seem to be changing the script for the better when they do indeed rewrite the script. Yeah, but Vince McMahon is trying to remove himself from the weeds. I wish the stockholders got this report from Brad Shepard and Dave Meltzer, back to back. Vince, I thought you said you were going to be removing yourself from the weeds with the hires of Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. Meanwhile, he's ripping up the script at 6 p.m. on Tuesday night with 2 hours to go, less than 2 hours before SmackDown has to go live on the USA Network. They had no show. I don't know how anybody can operate like that. Let alone a fucking wrestling company. I don't know how anybody comes down to the last minute and expects things to be good and run smoothly. Yet, Jimmy Jacobs, right, is full of shit, right? Jimmy Jacobs is full of shit, but Roman Reigns is correct in his assumption, right? I want to see some fucking idiot down in the comment section praise and get behind Vince McMahon. Oh, you're just a salty man. You're so negative. Really? You want your shows being written at the last fucking second? You seen how SmackDown was. It was terrible. Now you see why. And the more you see why SmackDown is terrible on Tuesday nights, it's probably because of this reason. But he's in the weeds too much, and he's going to remove himself from the weeds, yeah. Those weeds seem to be growing higher and higher and higher, and the lawnmower known as Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman, man, it's out of gas. It's broken. It needs a new blade job. Fucking ridiculous. Summerslam plans were leaked. Who gives a shit? What was so surprising on this year's SummerSlam that they needed to keep everything so top secret? Ooh, Trish Stratus, right? So, Charlotte comes on SmackDown Live 2 weeks ago and says that her match with Bayley is going to be more important than the Women's Championship. Didn't take long for fans. I seen videos in my sub box that night hyping Trish Stratus and her return to the WWE. The next morning I wake up, it's all over the fucking place. I didn't think it was Trish because I wasn't thinking where Toronto and SummerSlam came into play. I wasn't even thinking SummerSlam was in Toronto. I gave you every other fucking person but Trish Stratus in that instance. So it ended up being Trish Stratus. There's nothing bad about that being leaked. Who gives a shit? They were training together. Good. I want them to fucking train. I want people to know that they're training because that means they're going to give people the best match that they possibly can. Goldberg? Dolph Ziggler mentioned Goldberg 3 weeks in a row. And he mentioned, if you're bright and understand what's going on, he mentioned the Super Showdown match and how terrible and embarrassing it was. You're not going to go out there on WWE TV and use that. I could see WWE doing that, but I don't think they would do that in this instance because of how upset Goldberg was. I don't think that they could have blamed Goldberg completely on that. But they had Dolph Ziggler go out there and mention Bill Goldberg 3 different times in 3 different promos. It doesn't take a fucking mathematician to figure out that Dolph Ziggler more than likely is going to be confronted by Bill Goldberg. When is it going to happen? Is it going to happen at Clash of Champions? Why would you do that? You got SummerSlam going on. Why would you have a name like Bill Goldberg advertised for Clash of Champions? Why wouldn't you do Bill Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam? Because it's the biggest party of the summer. And we all know why Bill Goldberg is there. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure that one out either. So the leaked SummerSlam plans. Who gives a shit? Are you upset that they leaked? Not like it was any groundbreaking information here. But WWE is upset. Why don't you guys go back to the drawing board and write a fucking good show on Monday night so that we aren't upset? But you're upset about this. You're not upset that Monday Night Raw seems to be a fucking steaming pile of garbage every single week, but you're upset about fucking Trish Stratus and Charlotte Flair, information being leaked about them training for their match at SummerSlam? Fucking ridiculous, man. These people got their priorities all fucked up. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Nixed. If I could whistle, I would. If I had balloons and streamers and confetti, you'd be seeing it right now. Good, it's nixed. Daniel Bryan was teasing a career-altering announcement for weeks. Dropped. They dropped it because they didn't know what the fuck they wanted to do. Again, it goes back to what I said on Tuesday night. Clickbait. You put Bryan in that situation, knowing his history with concussions and his injury issues. Career-altering announcement. We all love Daniel Bryan, no matter how hated WWE wants him to be. We all love Daniel Bryan, the man, Bryan Danielson. So when you hear career anything, you're going to tune in to watch Daniel Bryan or listen to what Daniel Bryan has to say. So they clickbaited you into thinking it was bad, and it ended up being nothing. And in this instance, it was nothing because WWE had nothing. They had no plans. Now, this was frustrating, but what is even more interesting is that WWE seems to have moved on from this completely, dropped. PW Insider reports that WWE has decided to drop the big angle and the big career-altering announcement. They could always bring it back later, but at this time, it seems to be dead in the water. Good. I don't know where it went. It sounded more like Bryan had the flu than a career-altering announcement. There was no mention of his career-altering announcement on SmackDown Live this week, and it was reported that there was no talk about it backstage either. For what it's worth, WWE appears to have nixed Daniel Bryan's SummerSlam match against Roman Reigns, PW Insider reports that due to the fact that they didn't get to reach a conclusion that Daniel Bryan was behind the attacks on Reigns, WWE is now dropping their match from the biggest party of the summer, Summerslam. He says this, and I quote, "Originally, the SummerSlam card was to have featured Roman Reigns against Daniel Bryan, but the word making the rounds at TV last night, this was on Wednesday, this is recording on Thursday, so he says on Wednesday, on TV last night on Tuesday, the match will likely be dropped in order to let the current storyline play out," end quote. The blame for the recent attacks on Roman Reigns was seemingly placed on Rowan at the conclusion of SmackDown Live. It was reported that this direction is not 100% set in stone. Of course not. If Vince is rewriting and ripping up scripts at 6 p.m., you think they have a fucking culprit in this Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, Eric Rowan drama? Of course not. It could be the fucking garbage man for all we know. It could be your neighborhood fucking mailman for all we know. It could be someone dressed as the Riddler, because you got Batman on the fucking roster and Mustafa Ali. He's playing the fucking reprise role of Bruce Wayne. Could be a Batman villain for all we know. You know? Who the fuck knows who it is? Nobody. The blame for the recent attacks on Reigns was placed on Rowan. And WWE had Rowan and Bryan cut a WWE.com exclusive saying that they had absolutely nothing to do with it. And Daniel Bryan seemed pretty adamant about that as well. I'm glad it's not happening at SummerSlam. I made a whole fucking video on it. I'm glad it's not happening at SummerSlam. Good. This is what they get for expecting 3 weeks of storylines to play out over 3 weeks and then get the culmination in 3 weeks at SummerSlam. Doesn't work that way. Sorry to fucking burst your bubble, Vince. Maybe this storyline deserves more attention. I would save it for SmackDown Live on October 5th, but what the fuck do I know? That's going to be a big show. You need a big match. Why not have that match happen the first time since they last been in the ring? Why don't we do that this year for the first time on SmackDown Live? I think that's big enough for that show between two of your biggest superstars. I know, I tune in to watch that. Maybe you have the fucking culprit revealed on that show. Put some thought into it. Now, I did complain on SmackDown Live. I know this is not it. But I complained that they mentioned the name. How could you name Rowan? Now, it could be a red herring for all we know. It could be Buddy Murphy. It could be Bryan. It could be Rowan. It could be all three of them. It could be Joe for all we know. And Joe is just playing Roman Reigns like a puppet. It could be Luke Harper. Remember they found something to do with Luke Harper. Maybe Luke Harper was the one behind the wheel. It could be anybody. But all we know is that there are still looming questions that are somewhat intriguing. Why? Why is Roman Reigns being attacked? Who is attacking him? Is it really Rowan? Did Rowan do it on his own volition? Did Bryan have Rowan do it? You know, who's behind the wheel of the car? We still don't know who's behind the wheel of the car. So there are still whys enough to keep me interested. But the way SmackDown Live went off the air, it was like WWE wanted to rush it, and they wanted to get it happen at SummerSlam. Which I'm glad that it's not, because this match is worth so much more, and this storyline is probably the most interesting thing on WWE television right now. That why would you want to blow through it in 3 weeks? You got this NXT storyline with Aleister Black that played out beautifully over 2.5 months, and WWE wants to wrap this shit up in 3 weeks. Now, yes, NXT is 1 hour, Raw and SmackDown are 5 hours. That doesn't mean you need to have this storyline play out over 5 hours of fucking television. That's why they want to rush through things, because they got so many hours of television to keep up with on the main roster. You don't. You give them one segment on one dedicated night, and that's it. And you keep people stringing along. Should have went about it the way Aleister Black did it, and I mentioned it on Tuesday night. Interview everybody. Litter that backstage area where Reigns was walking to be interviewed. Litter it with superstars. It could have been anybody. Could have been anybody. And we could have had a guessing game of who's who. Everybody could have been interviewed. WWE could have had fun with it. It would have been a big attempted murder mystery on SmackDown Live, but they don't put any heart into anything. They don't put any effort into anything, and it shows. They wanted to blow this off at SummerSlam. I'm glad it's not. It deserves much more than that, and I hope WWE has some sort of idea of where they want to go, because if Vince McMahon is writing scripts at 6 p.m. and ripping up old scripts to rewrite new ones, I don't even think he knows where he wants to go with this, let alone who is the attacker or the driver or the forklift driver in this instance for Roman Reigns and the attempted mystery murder of Roman Reigns. So, there you go. So what is Roman Reigns going to do at SummerSlam? Well, WrestleVotes is actually reporting on Thursday that there is talk that Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy could take place at SummerSlam following their altercation on SmackDown Live. They said this on Twitter, and I quote, "There were discussions on SmackDown Live, after SmackDown Live, about adding Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy to the SummerSlam card after the angle that went down on SmackDown. Source said it wasn't decided either way yesterday, but it remains a possibility as we get closer to the show on the weekend. End quote. This would be Buddy Murphy's first match on SmackDown Live, on a pay-per-view, period, on a show, period, since April 15th, April 16th, when he got drafted to SmackDown Live from 205 Live. Well, he definitely won't win this match, which is case in point as to why I don't want Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns. There is a positive. Being in the ring against Roman Reigns, showing off his skills against Roman Reigns, showing off how he can work against Roman Reigns, might look good in the eyes of Vince, might look good in the eyes of everybody else who is on Vince McMahon's team. So there is some positive to it. But Buddy Murphy should not be put in a situation to lose. He hasn't had a match on his own yet. He hasn't had any platform to stand on his own 2 feet and show us what he's really made of. Yet you want to put him into an overwhelming situation where it's inevitable it's going to be a loss. I don't understand that. I do understand it, but I don't understand that. And in my wrestling fandom, I don't understand that. In WWE's terminology, I do understand it because they don't find any value in Buddy Murphy. He's just one of those small guys who has nothing about him that makes him stand out. He's just another body on this roster to, accumulate SmackDown's vast roster, which is not fair. Because why did you pull him from 205 Live when he could still be succeeding on that show and chasing the 205 Live Championship, the Cruiserweight Championship? He could have found success in NXT. He could have went down to NXT. Had a great match against the Velveteen Dream not too long ago for the North American Championship. You don't think I want to see that? You don't think people want to see that again? It's a great match. They killed it. He hasn't had any match. It's amazing how he hasn't had any matches on SmackDown Live, but they will utilize him in NXT just to get him work. I don't want to see him against Roman Reigns. There are positives, but those positives do not even come close to the negatives. And I don't even think even that, the positives there, are going to matter to Buddy Murphy, because if they seen something in Buddy Murphy, we would have seen Buddy Murphy in something on SmackDown Live, whether it's for the Intercontinental Championship or a feud with somebody. Mysterio, Ali, somebody. We've gotten nothing. Now, Buddy Murphy might not be your cup of tea. I hate wasted talent. Buddy Murphy is talent being wasted. I fucking hate that. That's why I am standing with Buddy Murphy. Something needs to be done. Roman Reigns at SummerSlam is not the answer. What is not the answer is also Seth Rollins not winning the Universal Championship. The guy's dead. As we reported on Friday, I gave you my opinion on Friday, I gave you my opinion on Monday in a very heated rant. Rollins, Crimea River Rollins, is dead. I don't know what WWE's plan is, but the sympathy is actually very depressing. People are siding with Lesnar more than they are Rollins. So what is WWE's direction for the Universal title match at SummerSlam? Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Live said WWE's current storyline is for the Universal title. Rollins has been beaten to a pulp time and time again. So Brock Lesnar is looking like a true unbeatable force. So this is what he says, and I quote, "The storyline that they're trying to go with is that Seth has no chance to beat Brock. Does that mean he's going to beat Brock? I cannot answer that question. But what I can say is the story that they are trying to tell for this build-up is that he has no chance to beat Brock, which would lead one to believe that he will. I don't trust anything when it comes to WWE booking to make sense." End quote. Now, Brock Lesnar continues to come off as a beast who is unbeatable. They went from Lesnar being unbeatable to him being beatable. Then they went to Boombox Brock, teasing a cash-in. He got the title. Now he's back to being unbeatable again. How is Lesnar unbeatable or an unstoppable force? By beating up some fucking triggered pussy snowflake in Seth Rollins. That doesn't necessarily mean that Lesnar is back to being a dominant force. He's beating somebody up that is asking to be beat up. He's beating up the man's man. You already diminished Seth Rollins. To me, Seth Rollins is a fucking pussy. So no matter what Brock Lesnar does to him, I find it laughable. I find it absolutely laughable. Rollins is dead. I don't think Rollins is going to beat Brock Lesnar, nor should he. WWE, I'm going to say this again, I'll probably say it again on Sunday. They need to be very careful about what they do with Seth Rollins. The more that they do this sympathetic garbage and have him come off as fucking, oh, woe is me, I'm going to continue to fight Brock Lesnar, I got to do this for you guys. Nauseating. I want to fucking vomit right now. I just had a fucking nice lunch before I recorded this shit. Want to vomit. Nobody wants that. Rollins was a hero. Rollins was cool. He was cool back last year. Now he's a sniveling, fucking depressed pussy. This is who you want as your Universal Champion? This is who you are going to build up as a believable fucking force against Brock Lesnar. Happened at WrestleMania. It's not happening again, folks. They got to be very careful because you're treading Roman Reigns' nauseous levels with this one. You want Rollins to be respected as a champion? This is not the way you go about it. You give Rollins the Universal Championship at SummerSlam, the guy's going to be the most hated fucking champion that you've seen since Roman Reigns. And I don't think Seth Rollins wants that. I don't think you want that. But you've asked for it, and you put him in the position to be in this situation. In this situation. You've given him so much that there's literally nothing for him to work with. Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans, Becky Lynch. All of this shit is added up. Do you think this makes for a good, believable champion? No. It doesn't. This is not my champion. Just like everybody wants to say Trump is not their president. Seth Rollins wins the Universal Championship. He's not my champion. He will never be my champion in this current iteration of Seth Rollins. He needs to go back and do some deep soul searching. He owns a coffee shop in Iowa. Go sit there and sip on a cappuccino and think about what you've done and what you've been put through. I'm sure you'll come out of it. WWE worked their staff with Bill Goldberg and his SummerSlam return. Really? He didn't work me. I believed every fucking report about Bill Goldberg coming back. Brad Shepard reported this on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast. He says this, and I quote, WWE basically worked everybody internally on this Goldberg return. I can't get into detail. I would like to for different reasons, but they went through extraordinary lengths in some cases to hide the fact that Goldberg would be showing up to SummerSlam and having a match. I'll just put it that way. End quote. The sauce. See what I'm fucking starving again, man. The sauce. Yeah, the sauce also indicated. I like a nice, smooth 4-cheese sauce on my pasta. Do you mind? The sauce. I'm already drained from this weekend, and we didn't even hit the fucking weekend yet. The source also indicated that Goldberg's opponent is better off being a smaller one, and Dolph fits that bill perfectly. After all, we all remember how WWE Super Showdown went. When Goldberg tried to jackhammer The Undertaker, he almost dropped The Undertaker right on his head. He says this, and I quote this, Brad Shepard, remember the jackhammer? I do. We all do. Dolph's safe, and he doesn't want to, or he doesn't weigh too much, so Goldberg will be able to do what he needs to do. Tom Collahoo, fucking goon. I don't know where he's from, if he's an industry insider or a podcast, I don't know. But he's in the news. Reports that WWE made a decision to choose Goldberg for a number of reasons. Mr. Tom, they chose Goldberg against Dolph for one reason and one reason only, and that's to give Goldberg the opportunity to fix Super Showdown. Tom Collahoo says that everyone loves Ziggler. Who's everyone? I like their names, phone numbers, and their fucking social security. Who's everyone? Everyone loves Ziggler. Because he's able to excel in any situation he's given. But he's a loser. I don't know if you realize that, but he's a loser. For his experience, says Tom, for his experience, everyone looks good wrestling with Dolph. WWE loves Dolph. There's nothing he can't do. Really? He can't win? So clearly your sources are wrong. The reason why this match was made was because of these reasons. Of course he's going to make Goldberg look good. He's going to sell and bump around like a fucking 5-star athlete. Goldberg is back because of Super Showdown, folks. Don't let anybody fool you. Goldberg did not want that to be his lasting image. There's no one else on the roster that A, wanted to work with Goldberg, that even makes sense to work with Goldberg, that is a better seller than Dolph Ziggler. So Dolph Ziggler's name came up. Why don't we put him on Dolph? He sells. Whatever. It works. He's light enough. He could pick him up in a jackhammer. You can spear him. He could fucking cut Ziggler in half with a spear. 30 seconds. Goldberg would look good. That's all he could do. That's all he knows, I'm sure. But that's that. So, I don't know what else to tell you, man. You can believe reports like this. It's clear why he's working with Dolph. And it's clear why he's back. He's working with Dolph because Dolph is going to sell. Dolph is going to make him look like $1 million, and Goldberg is back because WWE graciously gave him another opportunity to fix the horrendous mistake that was Super Showdown and The Undertaker's match in Saudi Arabia. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's no hidden meanings here. People trying to dance around the topic. This is why these types of reports and people like this are trash people. They don't tell you exactly what needs to be said because they're dancing around who's listening, right? He wants to suck Alexa Bliss's fucking left tit on social media. And then he wants to give a bullshit report. Goldberg is back because he fucking sucked at Super Showdown and he wants another shot. So they're putting him in there against a fucking loser who's lost all year since he's been back. A loser who's going to sell for him. Mr. Perfect did the same thing. He sells like a fucking madman. Dolph Ziggler is Shawn Michaels and Mr. Perfect combined. That's what they see in Dolph Ziggler. A loser. Goldberg is back to rectify Super Showdown. He's not back for any other reason. A world title reign, to have his son watch him. He's back because in here he knew he fucked up. So WWE's giving him the opportunity to do so. This is not some elaborate fucking master plan. There's no surprises here. Give me a break. Yes, this was in the bag for 6 months. Yes, this was in the plans for the entire summer to have Goldberg back. Yeah, really. Sure. Sure it was. What wasn't in the plan, and this is what we'll end with, which makes me wonder if we're going to see this at SummerSlam as well. I didn't even think about this, but the way that they ended it, probably not. Probably not. Dave Meltzer explained on Wrestling Observer Live that Rey Mysterio and Andrade was tentatively planned for WrestleMania this year in a hair versus mask match. I think everybody understands that. That was reported, didn't go through, and it didn't happen, and there was a good reason for that. Now, Dave Meltzer mentioned this, and I quote, apparently, someone in the company didn't want Andrade to cut his hair. I mean, that was the original idea for WrestleMania. I mean, Meltzer. I mean, I think there is a feeling that, ... I know at one point I was told that they don't want to cut Andrade's hair, and you can't take Rey's mask. End quote. Rey Mysterio isn't losing his mask, and I would have been very upset if Andrade lost his hair. There's one thing you do not do to a guy like Andrade, and that is cut his hair. Sorry. This is not Shawn Michaels, okay? Shawn Michaels cut his hair, and I can never get the visual of bald Shawn Michaels out of my mind, ever. There's one thing that fucking Crown Jewel match did, is ingrain fucking bald Shawn Michaels in my head. I don't want to see bald Andrade. It's not a good look. Not a good look. I'm not sure if Charlotte loves bald men, but who knows? Rey Mysterio's not losing his mask. Andrade's not losing his hair. Andrade's hair apparently was too valuable to cut as well, so the match was simply pulled from the card. Maybe Andrade said, whoa, essay. No, we're not cutting my hair. You know? Fuck that. I would have. I know I would have. Dave Meltzer also said on the Wrestling Observer Live that WWE is attempting to do something with Andrade. About time. I haven't seen it yet, but I guess good news. He is a star, but WWE hasn't done much with him, really. This might be changing because people in power are behind Andrade. He says this, and I quote, people in WWE, people who have power, are behind him. Yet they don't do anything with him, so it's kind of a weird thing. I guess now is the start of attempting to do something with him. End quote. So it's maybe and maybe not. They maybe push him because they have to. Because their darling, Charlotte Flair, is engaged to Andrade. So to keep Charlotte happy, they're going to have to push her husband. Or her fiance. Maybe someone in power doesn't like Andrade for the simple fact that he doesn't speak English. We haven't really heard from him. We haven't heard from him at all. I remember he was told by Vince to learn English, and then we'll talk about a push. Yeah, it goes to show you how Vince McMahon operates, right? That's why they got Zelina Vega with him, but he wants Andrade to learn English. He can learn English in his off time. That's great. He can do whatever he wants to do as a fucking hobby. He wants to learn English? Learn English. But there's a reason why Andrade is paired with Zelina Vega. So not giving him a push is your fucking excuse of not giving him a push. Oh, he doesn't learn English. He can't speak English. But Andrade is going to be pushed because of Charlotte Flair. And he's not going to be pushed because maybe someone in WWE doesn't really want to for whatever reasons, but they want to just enough to appease Charlotte Flair. They want to make it seem like he's going somewhere, but they also want to keep him at a distance, if you get what I'm saying. So there's definitely influences from both sides. So Dave Meltzer on Mysterio. He goes into this on Mysterio. Now, it might have worked out best for Mysterio because Mysterio had to go away due to injury, and the whole Samoa Joe thing ended in 1 minute. He lost the United States Championship. Dave Meltzer said this on the Observer Live about Rey Mysterio. I mean, if they're going to treat him like this, and Rey Mysterio's been treated awful. We've mentioned this, and it's been a theme every single week. Rey Mysterio's a schmuck. He's a pushover. I mean, if they're going to treat him like this, then they're going to die when he goes to AEW. I mean, he'll go there in a heartbeat, and they won't abuse him over there because those guys love him. So it's kind of like, what are you doing with Rey Mysterio? End quote. Now, that's all I have on this story, but I do want to mention that Rey Mysterio has an out clause in his contract. He joined WWE last year, October. Okay? Last year, October. So come October this year, it'll be 12 months. So by the time WrestleMania comes around, after WrestleMania, he has an 18-month out clause. If he's not happy about what's going on with him and the WWE at 18 months, he can leave. Otherwise, he could stay for the full 2 years that he signed. So he does have an 18-month out clause, and that's completely up to him, and WWE can't do anything about that. Now, the fact that he was out for 6 weeks, that falls right in line with what WWE does. You're out for 6 weeks, we can add that time, because that's the allotted time. If you go 6 weeks or more with an injury, WWE could be petty and add 6 weeks on to your existing contract, so they can add him to have another 6 weeks and still be around for another couple of months. So, I don't think they'll do that again to him. That would be really fucking obvious and really petty, because they did that the first time with him. In his last stint with WWE. But if he goes to AEW, I mean, obviously they're going to be upset. Rey Mysterio is a big name. On TNT, man, how things come full circle, man. Rey Mysterio back on TNT. I don't want to say it's going to happen, but the likelihood of it happening with the way that they're booking him is becoming more of a reality. Because the guy is not doing anything, and WWE looks at him as a 44-year-old, aging veteran who needs to put other people over, but yeah, he might be injury prone, but you got him now. Utilize him. If he gets hurt, he gets fucking hurt. It's the nature of the business. Don't have Rey Mysterio on your roster and treat him like a fucking loser, losing to Bobby Lashley in 60 seconds, then getting beat up by Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown Live. If he goes to AEW, WWE has nobody to blame but themselves. And I expect it to happen. After WrestleMania next year, we might not see Rey Mysterio in the WWE ever again until he is announced as a Hall of Famer. Getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. We got a podcast in. Holy shit. We got a podcast in. I am so happy, man. I am done until TakeOver. I am done. It's Thursday at fucking 3:45. I'm done. Done with this shit. Thank you guys so much, man. Gotta get myself ready for House of Glory. It will have happened already, but I can tell you it's gonna be a great show. Hope you guys watched on Fight TV. But speaking of myself now in the current state, I got to head to the House of Glory school. I got to get things ready. We got to go over the show. Got to go over things creatively. We got to book the show, format the show, piece everything together. It's going to be fun, man. And I can't wait to see what happens this weekend with TakeOver and SummerSlam. Should be a big weekend. I'll be here to cover it all, as I always do, right here on Off the Script, guys. Thank you so very much. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. I'm going to be tweeting all weekend during TakeOver and SummerSlam. Instagram, follow me on there as well. Same at JD from NY206. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed. I'm going to pin it in the comment section, man. Make sure you guys check all that stuff out. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll be back here tonight, man, for TakeOver Toronto. Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls. What's that third fall going to be? And will the Undisputed Era's prophecy be fulfilled tonight? And will we see Ciampa? I'm saying yes to both of those last 2 things, man. I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so very much, and I will see you right back here for TakeOver tonight after the show's over. Have a good night.